Good morning class 10 students. I welcome you all on this online platform. So today we'll probably be ending our chapter, that is this video is for class 10th and we were doing chapter 5 periodic classification of elements. So today we'll be starting or we'll be continuing our modern periodic table which is called long form of periodic table. We have already started this topic. So we'll be continuing our topic, that is the long form of periodic table. It is also called modern periodic table. It was given by Henry Moseley. So now what we have next is, I already told you in the previous class that our modern periodic tables seems to be of this structure. You can see the modern periodic table which is already drawn in your books. So this periodic table is divided into 18 groups and 7 periods. The groups are the vertical columns and your periods are your horizontal rows. That is this 1, 2, these are your groups. Your first group contains elements like hydrogen, then you have lithium, beryllium, okay, here sodium would come. You have H, then Li, then Na, then comes potassium, then rubidium, then cesium, and then comes francium. So if I write the number of periods, so this would be your first period, then you have second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So the numbers which I have abbreviated with the red color, these are your periods. So these are your horizontal rows. And vertical columns, these which are abbreviated at the top of every column is your groups. So we have two groups, that is first and second group. I already told you that according to your groups, the first group and second group is called S block. We'll study all this in detail, okay? So first and second group is called your S block of elements. Then the groups coming from the group number 3 to group number 12, that is in this column, all the elements which belong to your group number 3, if we write them separately, what do I have? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 9, 10th, 11th and 12th. So you will have these following groups and this complete is known as your D block, that is group number 3 to group number 12 is called D block of elements. Then next year, starting from the next group, that is group number 13, 14, 15, 16, and then comes the next, that is 17th and 18th. So from group number 13 to group number 18, these elements are called your P block of elements. And then we have another block, that is your F block. So I am drawing this F block which is present at the base of your periodic table. You have two periods in your F block, but why this F block is not named with another symbol, that is why it is not called the 8th and 9th period, because it is present below the periodic table. So because we are starting with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 till 7, so it should be written 8th and 9th, but it is not so. Because these F block elements, if you consider, first I'll write that for F block, these F block elements belong to which group and which period. This is very important. So a question is always asked in exam, that is to which group and which period does this F block belong to, because no group and no period is signified near this diagram. So we say that F block belongs to your group number 3. That is your third group, and this F block belongs to period 6th and 7th. So these are the important answers, that is F block belongs to group 3rd and the period 6 and 7. So this first row of F block belongs to the 6th period and this next row belongs to your 7th period. So if they are belonging to your 6th and 7th period, then why they are written separately? Then this question would definitely arise in your minds, that why we have placed elements separately when they belong to the 6th and 7th period. So these all elements should occur or should be placed here in the 6th period and in the 3rd group, but not so, because what we observed that in our 3rd period you have different elements, that is these are the elements which are present in your 3rd period. So we observed that this element lanthanum, this lanthanum has an atomic number 57. So what did we get? That after this lanthanum, we had 14 more elements which showed similar property to this lanthanum. And because we know if any element possess or have similar properties, then they should be kept in the same group. But if we put all these 14 elements, that is, this first row also contain 14 elements and the next also contain 14 elements. So if I try to place all the 14 elements coming here with this group, so then this would disturb the regular arrangement of our periodic table. Therefore, the elements, that is the atomic number 58 to atomic number 71, were placed in a separate row, and hence they belong to the 6th period only, because they have same properties. All the 14 elements coming here have same properties similar to lanthanum. So therefore, they are also called lanthanoids. And because we have our element with atomic number 89 coming in your group 3 and period 7, which is actinium. So we also found 14 elements more which had same properties with actinium element, and therefore because we can't arrange, the same reason, because our periodic arrangement would be disturbed if I try to place all these 14 elements coming at the last of the series in this, then it would disturb our arrangement. So these were called actinoids. So the elements from atomic number 58 to 71 and from atomic number 90 to 103. The last element has an atomic number of 103. We have total 14 elements, and these were placed in two different series. That is, the first is called lanthanoids and the next is called actinoids. Why they are named lanthanoids and actinoids? Because these all elements, that is, which are coming in your A series, these have properties similar to lanthanum, and the next one, if I write these belong to the B series, then all these elements have similar properties to actinium, and hence they were called actinoids and lanthanoids respectively. Okay, so what elements do we have in lanthanoids and actinoids? You actually do not have the need to remember these. You can say that the first element coming here is cerium. That is the element with atomic number 58 is your cerium, and the first element with atomic number 90 is thorium. So cerium is the starting element of lanthanoids, that is, this comes just after lanthanum. Lanthanum has atomic number 57, cerium has atomic number 58. Similarly, we have actinium here. Actinium has atomic number 89, and here you have thorium, which has atomic number 90. And if you count 14 elements, the last element which comes in your lanthanoids is lutetium. So this element, I am writing the full name, this is lutetium here. And the last element here, this is called lawrencium. So these are placed in a different group, that is your F block. So F block contains two things, lanthanoids, and then you have actinoids. So this was an account you should know of your modern periodic table. Then we have discussed the common names given to the groups. That is, the first group is called alkali metals. The next is called alkaline earth metals. Then all of this, that is the D block. 3 to 12 group number belongs to your D block. So it is also known as transition elements. In your higher classes, you will get the reason why these are called transition. This F block is therefore, that is lanthanoids and actinoids combinedly are called your inner transition. every reason that why these are known as inner transition elements and why D block is known as your transition elements, you will get to know about this in your higher classes. Then these all elements, that is, once I have to arrange, you have helium here, this comes, these two elements are present in your first period. Then next what you have, then you have, now I'll complete I think, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, then you have nickel, copper and zinc here, okay? Then you have hydrogen, helium, then comes lithium, so here you would have beryllium, then you would have boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. Then comes sodium, magnesium, this we have made, okay? This is your second period, this is your first, this is your second period. Now you have your third period, and these all will come in this third series. I have written them below, now I am not again writing them. These all would come in your third period. So this is the 3D series which would be written above. By mistake I have written them down. So according to atomic number, I said you have to learn the atomic number of first 20 elements. So now I am telling you how to arrange your first 20 elements in the periodic table. So in the first period you have hydrogen and helium. Then in the next you have lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. So this completes your second period, that is you have written 10 elements. Then next after neon you have sodium, magnesium, then would be aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon. So these all elements would be present in your third period. And then you have potassium and calcium. So try to learn these all elements, that is, I am circling all the elements which you should know. These are your first 20 elements which are arranged in the periodic table in a likewise systematic manner. Okay, and please do shift these elements here. These elements do not belong to this fourth period. All these elements which I have written in the D block, starting from scandium to zinc, would be included in the third period. No need to remember these, just remember the ones I have circled. These are your first 20 elements which you should know. Now next I have told you in your earlier class, that is the common names given to group 1. This whole group 1 is called alkali metal. Group 1 is this. So this whole group 1 is called alkali metals. Talking to the next, you have alkaline earth metals. Then this group which is starting from boron, so this is called your boron family. Then the next one, this 14th group which is starting from carbon, this is called carbon family. And likewise, according to the name of the first element present in your group, you can add a suffix family. That is, this one would be your nitrogen family, oxygen family. Oxygen family, if it is asked contains which element, you can write it contains oxygen and sulfur. Okay, you can also write other elements. It would contain these elements also, polonium, selenium, tellurium. Then you have your fluorine family, and then 18th group we have already talked about. These are known as inert gas. These are called noble gas, or this is also called a zero group. Then you have some other common names, that is, this 17th group is called halogens. 16th group is called chalcogens. Why they are called chalcogens? Because they have the ability to form ores. And this 15th group is called nicogens. P-N-I-C-O-G-E-N. Okay, and here the P is silent, so I am pronouncing it as nicogens. Why they are called nicogens, nitrogen family? Because they have certain suffocating properties with them. So this is an account of your periodic table, the different blocks which come in periodic table, and this F block I have already discussed. Then periodic table modern form contains 18 groups and 7 periods, and this is the arrangement of some of them. Then the elements coming to the left hand side are metals, okay, and on the right you have non-metals. Between these metals and non-metals, you have a zigzag line. The zigzag line is already drawn with the different colors. If you open your textbooks and you see the periodic table, please do see, then you will get that metals are shown in a different color, non-metals are shown in a different color, and in between there are some elements like boron, silicon, and these all, okay. These elements, boron, silicon, etc. are shown with a different color. So these are neither metals nor non-metals. These are called metalloids. And we have discussed what do you mean by metal, non-metal and metalloids in your earlier chapters. So we are not going to discuss now these in detail. So this is a zigzag line of metalloids present in your periodic table. And this is the boundary line between metals and non-metals. So this is an account of modern periodic table which you have with you. Now we have already discussed that what is the use of group number. So I have told that 1, 2, 13, 14, these group number tell you the valency. Elements coming in group 1 have a valency 1. Elements coming in group 2 have a valency 2. But if you are talking to the elements belonging to group 13 to group 18, then how you find valency? Valency is equal to 10 plus group number, okay, or valency is equal to 10 minus group number. This we have done in earlier video. If you are confused, you may refer to the previous video. Then one more point we have, that is your S block and your P block of elements, which we have to study. This is your S block, this is the S block of elements, and this you have the P block of elements. So S block and P block are combinedly called representative elements. Okay, just remember these small terms, these are called. So if you are asked what are representative elements, you will say the elements present in S block and elements of the P block are combinedly referred as representative elements. Then you also have one more term, that is, what do you mean by typical elements? So all the elements coming in your third period are called typical elements. Elements coming in period 3. So this is your period 3, these are the number of periods, this you have your period 3. So all these elements, you can skip this D block, okay. So all the elements would be typical elements, that is sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine and argon. All the elements which I circled with the blue marker are called typical elements. That is, the period 3 elements of S block and P block are called typical elements. These are only a reference name given to these elements, but question can be asked in exams, so you have to remember the names which are given to your elements. Now next we have number of elements in different periods. You should know, because many times questions are asked, what are the different number of elements coming in different periods. So we have 7 periods, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. The number of elements present in different periods is given by the formula 2n square. So in the first period, if you remember the previously drawn periodic table, this is your first period, moving from left to right. Period means you have to move from left to right. Group means you have to move from up to down. This is group. Moving from up to down, you are moving in a group. If you are moving from left to right, you are moving in the period. This shows your period, whereas this sign shows group. Up to down is your group, left to right is your period. So in the first period, what you have? You have hydrogen and then you have helium. You have 2 elements in your first period. Remember, I am only talking about S block and P block. We are only now dealing with S and P. But in the second period, how many elements do you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 elements. So likewise, you can count and you can write that number of elements present in your first period would be 2. Then in the second and third period you have 8 elements. In the fourth and fifth period you will have 18 elements, and in the sixth and seventh period you will have 32 elements. But remember, this seventh period is not still completed. It is not yet complete. That is, all the new elements which are being discovered, we have all new elements which will be discovered will be placed in which? Will be placed in your seventh period. So this first period, this is your different periods, and this is the number of elements. Okay, so in the first period you have 2 elements, in the next you have 8, and further in 6th and 7th period you have 32 elements. So first period can also be called as the shortest period, because you have minimum number of elements in your first period, while the 6th and 7th period are referred as the longest period of periodic table. And if in future new elements would be discovered which would be placed in your 7th period, then 7th will become your longest period. But for now, because you have a total of 118 elements which are arranged in the periodic table in 4 groups, S, P, D and F block groups. So we have longest period now to be both 6th and 7th. But if new elements would be discovered, then this 7th period would be your longest period. So because this is still not completed, and you can include any new element in your 7th period. And the first is of course your shortest period, because it only involves hydrogen and helium. You can also learn the names of the elements which are present in your shortest and longest groups. Okay, that is, in the first, which elements you have? You have hydrogen and helium. You can learn from this periodic table. In the next you have lithium, beryllium, boron. So I'll write of the second also. You have lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. So this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. Then after neon you can write in your third period you have what? You have sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine and argon. So this completes the 8 element of your third period. In the next you have 18 elements, that is potassium and calcium. These up to calcium you have to remember their symbols, atomic number, everything, and no need to remember what comes after calcium. Okay, so this is an account of number of elements present in different periods. Then I have discussed the use of group number. Now also I have revised that group number helps to find the valency. So what is the use of this period number? That is the elements coming in period 1. The elements are hydrogen and helium. The elements coming in period 2, these are what? Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. Likewise, you have other elements coming in your third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh period. So what is the use of this period number? Like the group number told you about valency, use of this period number is to find the number of shells. For example, let's try to understand. The atomic number of hydrogen is 1. Atomic number means number of protons which are equal to the number of electrons. So you have 1 proton in hydrogen and 1 electron. That means if I try to write the configuration of hydrogen, I would get 1 electron in the K shell. The atomic number of helium is 2. So if I try to write the configuration of helium, I'll get 2 electrons in the K shell. You already know, okay, we have discussed, you know that models you have studied, you can arrange 2 electrons in your K shell, and then in the remaining L, M and N shell you can have 8 electrons each. So this means that both hydrogen and helium contains only K shell. Coming on to the next, their atomic number are respectively 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And if I write their electronic configuration, these 3 electrons will be arranged, first 2 in the K shell, remaining 1 in the L shell. Then for 4, the electronic configuration would be 2, 2. Similarly for 6 we have 2, 4, then 2, 5, then 2, 6, then we have 2 and 7, and the electronic configuration would be 2 and 8. Now the next element after neon, that is sodium. It has atomic number 11. So the configuration would be 2, 8 and 1. That is, you have K shell, L shell and M shell. So number of period tells you the number of shells present in your compound or element. Hydrogen has only one shell, that is K shell. So it is present in period 1. Talking about beryllium. Beryllium has 2 shells, K shell and L shell. So it is present in period number 2. Here talking about sodium. Sodium has K, L and M. That is a total of 3 shells. So it is therefore arranged in period 3. And therefore you can check for other elements. So number of period tells you about the number of shells present in your element, whereas in the previous video we discussed that group number tells you the valency. For S block, the valency will be equal to directly the group number. For P block, you have to deduct a factor of 10 from the group number. So group number tells you about valency and period tells you about number of shells. I hope you have understood this concept. That is, what is the use of period number and group number, so you can identify which elements are present. If I give you an element, that is, if I give you a question that element X, okay, it is present in group 13, then tell me its valency. And if this element, okay, first we'll solve this. If element is present in group 13 के लिए how do you find valency? You say that 13 minus 10. You have to deduct a factor of 10 because 13th group belongs to P block. So for valency you have 13 minus 10. So its valency would be 3. If I ask you that this element X which you have with you belongs to period 4, then can you tell me the number of shells present? Yes, you say because it is belonging to period 4, then it will have 4 shells, K, L, M and N shells, because number of period tells you the number of shells. You may note down such questions you will find in your examinations. That is, by giving you the group number, you will be asked about the number of shells, or by giving you the number of periods, you can be asked about shells, and then you can be asked about the valency. Can you do one more advanced question, that is, if you know the group number and you know its period, can you write down the electronic configuration? Try to do this. If you have understood the concept, you will be easily able to write the electronic configuration, okay, which is any element. If you are given its group number and its period number, then please try to write the electronic configuration of that element. Do try them. Firstly, do revise the periodic table, then you will be easily able to answer this question. That is, how to write the electronic configuration when you are provided with group and period of an element. Now next topic which you have is trends in modern periodic table. So we'll do these trends. The first trend, that is your valency. Valency means the combining capacity of element. We have done a detailed discussion about valency in our previous classes also, okay? So valency is the combining capacity, and how can you calculate the valency? By knowing the group number, valency can be calculated. So this is your first trend. Now the next comes the atomic size. So we'll see what do you mean by atomic size. Atomic size is the distance of outermost shell outermost shell of any atom from the center of nucleus. Atomic size means if you have K and L shell and this is your nucleus. So what would be the atomic size? Atomic size is given by using atomic radius. So atomic size would be the distance between the center point of your nucleus and the outermost shell. So this would be your atomic radius and this would tell me the atomic size of any atom. So it is given that atomic size of hydrogen is 37 or 35 picometers. This is the atomic radius of hydrogen atom what you have is. So we have to study the trends. That is, if you move from up to down in a group, then what would be the effect on atomic size? Let's suppose the group is this and I am moving from up to down. Then you know that on moving from upside to downside in a same group if I move from upside to downside, then atomic size will increase. And what is the reason for this? Because number of shells will increase. This element coming here would belong to period 1, the next will belong to period 2, and further we know that number of period would increase. And as I have already told you that number of period tells you the number of shell. So this element coming in the first will have only 1 shell, but the element coming in the fourth period will have 4 shells. So now you can easily see as the number of shells increases, the size of atom also enlarges. So if I move up to down in a group, atomic size increases because number of shells increases. But if I move from left to right means I am moving in a period, left to right in a period. Then what would be observed? This atomic size will decrease. And why so? Why atomic size will decrease if I move from left to right? Like I am moving from this element to this element. The period remains same. If I am talking about the third period or any period, then the number of period would be same. What is changing? The number of group is changing here. And you know the number of group is changing, it means number of electrons are increasing. Atomic size will decrease. I'll write it on the next slide. That is, if you move from left hand side to right hand side, then atomic size decreases. The reason is because number of electrons increases. Why number of electrons increases? Because your atomic number is increasing. Atomic number while moving from left to right, atomic number will increase. Atomic number increase signifies increase in the number of electrons. But we know that the shell number remains same. Or you can say the period remains same. So what you have is an element. Let's suppose we are talking about the second period. This element comes at your left hand side and this comes in your right hand side. Both these elements belong to the same period, that is second period, so you will have 2 shells. Now you are moving from left to right, then obviously atomic number is increasing, okay? That means number of electrons are increasing. So if you have 3 electrons here, 2 in the K shell and 1 in the L shell, and then I increase the atomic number, that is number of electrons. That is, if I have 2 electrons in the K shell and remaining 8 in my next outermost shell. So you see that number of electrons present are 3. So number of protons in the nucleus will also be 3. But here the number of electrons present are 10 and the number of protons are also 10. But these electrons will be this nucleus has a high force on these electrons. And moving from left to right, the nuclear attraction will increase. Okay? So we say that because these 3 protons only attract the outermost 1 electron with a force, but here all the 8 electrons are present. So because number of electrons are increasing in a particular shell, then what we have is atomic number and electrons increases, then the nuclear force of attraction also increases. And therefore the atomic size decreases. So this is the reason for decrease in atomic size. Now the last trend which you have is metallic and non-metallic properties. So this I have already discussed. The third, that is metallic and non-metallic properties. For this you have, on the left hand side, you have all your metals. I have said this. And on the right hand side, you have your non-metals. There is a zigzag boundary including elements such as boron, silicon, etc. And these are termed as metalloids. And then it is written that the oxides of metals are basic in nature, the oxides of non-metal are acidic in nature. All the reasons we have done in our previous units. Okay, so if oxides form, they would be basic, but the oxides of non-metal would be acidic. The next you have is, because metals can easily lose their electron, so they are called to be electropositive, while non-metals are called electronegative elements. So if you are asked a question, that is, if I move from left hand side to right hand side, metallic character will increase or non-metallic? Yes, left से right जाने पर you have non-metallic character, and either the elements will become electropositive or negative. So remember, metallic character is present on left hand side and metals are electropositive. So if you move from left to right, then non-metallic character, or you can say electronegativity, will increase. So this completes whole of your chapter, that was periodic classification of elements. I hope you have understood this video lecture and all the previous video lectures. Please now try to revise everything. Remember some important questions and terms which are being given to you. This was all for today. Thank you for joining the class.